any of you think that a generation of young men, and having struggled with myself, totally acknowledge it, so no one...
Have you talked to me?
Oh my God, Molly.
What? Like, how crass can you be? He's talking about his struggle with porn as a young man, and she's asking, have you know what, to me? Oh my gosh. But let's continue.
He's thinking.
I've never heard of you before, so...
Here's another classic example of disrespect to a man.
Yeah,
That's the answer, because your wife is watching.
that's true. I've never heard of you before. Yeah.
Wow.
That was kind of out of pocket, Molly.
Out of pocket?
Okay.
Disrespectful.
So, Charlie Kirk, your political commentator.
Can I say one thing, though?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Molly, I have sympathy for you. I do. You're trying to cope with the suppression of your soul. And filming yourself having sex with other men and filming it is not the highest and best use of the talents that God gave you. It's not.
Nope.
And
That is a talent God gave me.
well, it's not the highest and best use, and it's not a talent because, as I said, in my belief, that should be saved in a sacred domain. We're not going to agree on that, but
Did she just say that is a talent God gave her? What is wrong with these modern women today? First of all, the lack of disrespect, and then she thinks it's cool. Oh, it's a talent that God gave me. No, it's not. Lord.
I hope you change course. I think you'll be happier and more joyful, and I pray you don't have to suffer too much to realize that.
Well, in my belief, this is my most happy and joyful.
So if Molly made like a huge pivot and started doing politics, would you support her political runs and bids?
It's not a matter of politics. I mean, I want what's best for all of you here, and I don't think filming yourself having sex with men is the highest and best use of your talents. In fact, I think it personally has done a lot of damage to a lot of young men. And don't take my word for it. Look, you can read the book by Gary Wilson, Your Brain on Porn. It is the #1 drug in America right now, and it impacts
Well, it
men.
definitely isn't healthy.
Okay, so it's not healthy, so
No.
we agree. So let me ask a moral question. What do you guys think of dealers that push fentanyl? Good people or not good people?
Probably not.
Not
Yeah.
good people.
So
I mean, that's
if we
killing
agree
people.
that
Porn
porn is a
isn't
drug,
killing people.
but hold on a second. If porn is a drug, how is Molly not either drug dealer or a drug manufacturer?
How is
It's different
comparing
levels
porn
of
to fentanyl?
addiction.
There's so many other
What?
drugs.
Well,
Like
hold on,
weed is
but-
not fentanyl.
But
Weed's fine.
we agree.
Porn's
Well,
fine.
I wouldn't say weed is fine.
So they agree that a drug dealer pushing drugs to vulnerable people and people who have addictions, that they are not good people. So aren't you doing the same thing by feeding into the addiction of porn for men, mostly men? There's some women that are addicted to it as well, but mostly men. This has crippled men. This is like a drug for some men. As a matter of fact, I did a show about this same topic, and studies have shown that the effect on the brain by porn is the same effect when you look at it under the microscope and you see the brain of a person on drugs versus the brain of a person on porn is exactly the same. It looks like that person was on a strong drug like, meth or cocaine or something like that. So you are feeding in. You're just as bad as a drug dealer that's on the street, serving up drugs to addicts. You're just sort of serving up a different kind of drug to an addict. But let me continue.
But it is not as bad as fentanyl. But
I mean, there's different levels.
do you believe
to,
porn is a drug?
I think it's an addiction. A drug
Okay.
is a no.
So what does porn do to the male mind?
I don't know. I'm not a male.
Okay, yeah, it is the same biochemical release as cocaine. It's almost identical.
Right.
In fact, it's even more powerful at times. Not to mention the damage it does to their relationships and how it has to rewire their brain. That goes without saying. But
I
does
just,
it?
I don't really see the comparison with like fentanyl and porn though, because fentanyl actually kills people and
is highly addictive.
So
I know right now, currently, like porn addiction is not recognized in the DSM-5 as a legitimate addiction. The only behavioral-based addiction would be drug addiction, something like fentanyl or whatever. Every other type of addiction is something that's like so that you can't, or sorry, not drug-based, gambling. That's what it is. Gambling addiction is very real, but I don't believe porn addiction is. I think you can have impulse control issues with porn, but that would be like any other thing that you could have difficulty controlling, like your consumption of.
So,
Go ahead, Molly, please.
So my question is like, I kind of have a comparison of my own, and I'll try.
First of all, you don't know what you're talking about, girl. You clearly don't know what you're talking about.
And sum this up as fast as I can. But basically, when Prohibition happened, you know, people said that alcohol, it was not good for you. It led to deaths, it led to arguments, negative things, whatever. Prohibition happened. People still found ways to have parties with alcohol, drink alcohol, speakeasies existed. The only thing that happened was people didn't stop drinking alcohol, people started getting arrested and punished for it. And it started ruining people's livelihoods in that way instead of in a way that they have control over, meaning that they can stop the addiction by getting help at any time. So my question is, if you think porn is so bad, like an addiction like that, what's your solution? Because if you're going to get rid of it, it's still going to exist.
Well, the first solution, I mean, can you at least agree, Molly, that minors shouldn't be viewing porn?
100%.
Okay, good. So
for a reason.
Yeah.
well, the age verification's a little
Well,
bit.
yeah.
So let's talk about that. Utah and Texas passed laws that sued that made it more robust. You had to actually provide an ID, and Hub didn't like that because they said it would limit their traffic. So would you all agree that if there was robust ID checking, that would, like 18, we can at least agree we could draw the line there?
Yeah, I feel like that's the normal age for
Okay,
everybody.
I'm glad to hear that. So on the other side, though, I mean, I think we have to acknowledge that the average American male spending anywhere between 45 minutes to 90 minutes on websites, it varies. I mean, this is a new phenomenon, and I just want to reiterate it, that highly interactive, three-dimensional video that triggers dopaminergic responses in the brain is unlike anything we've encountered. The science is still being studied, and Gary Wilson's book is phenomenal on this, Your Brain on Porn. In fact, it is the most used, let's just say product, we don't have to say drug, product for young men in this country. And I guess you would all say that, let me just ask you, how many of you are thrilled with the status of American men? You think that they're strong and confident and they tell the truth?
I love an American man as an Irish girl, definitely.
Okay, well then, you're the exception.
They're all
The Americans
horrible.
are silent.
Okay, you see, yeah, but hold on, and I'm not going to say it's only because of porn, because that would not be fair, but porn consumption does not make better men.
No.
Yeah.
You agree?
I agree 100%.
So that's where I'm just trying to introduce into the conversation. You said, what is the solution? So I would just say, Molly, my advice, well, my ask for you is, you know, for people to stop participating in it, for that's not going to happen because the money is so good. But we should draw the line at 18. There should even be, it should be very, very hard to access. But to your point, Molly, you're not wrong. People would always find it. But we should draw a line in the sand somewhere, especially with minors, or have some sort of, you know, we should have some sort of acknowledgement that this is destroying parts of society. And I won't say it's worse than fentanyl, but in some ways it's very, very sneaky. A lot of married men watch pornography. As I said, I've had my own personal struggles with it. It's incredibly addictive. It's incredibly powerful. It also creates depressive effects in about half of the men that consume pornography. And I would just say that, you know, young ladies, it affects women differently than men. Men are 50 times more visual oriented than women. And that's not to say that women don't consume pornography. They do, in increasingly higher rates. But I think it's a social toxin right now.
There you have it. Charlie Kirk on whatever, talking about the effect on corn on men, especially, as I've mentioned that I've done an extensive interview all about that subject matter, and we got into the effects on society, the effects on women, being an OnlyFans model and actually producing content for the industry, as well as the effect on men and their relationships. And the gentleman that I interviewed, the effect he was an addict and what it caused him, what he had to sacrifice, what it led for him having it almost ruined his life. So this is not something that's just simple, or it's not just something that, oh, it's just a man, doing whatever to an OnlyFans model or a magazine or anything of the sort. This is an epidemic, and it is very, very serious. Lily, where are you going, baby? Where are you going, Baba?